Hi guys, and welcome to Fatigans Go Live. My name is Alyssa. I'm the greenhouse personnel manager here. Today is Friday, March 20th. It's my birthday. And we are going to be talking about purchasing houseplants today. So for those of you that are very involved in the Fatigans family and what we do here, we were hosting a Houseplants 101 class March 15th. However, it was canceled because of all this coronavirus stuff going on right now, and we wanted to make sure that your safety was our first priority. With that being said, 120 of you were going to be coming to see me and Sue. With that being said, we didn't want to completely get rid of the idea, so here we are on Facebook. I'm going to be teaching you the class on Facebook, section by section. Today is purchasing. So some of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is making sure that you're doing your research. When you guys come into Fatigans and you know that you're going to be buying a plant, because I know some of you come in just to enjoy the sunshine, especially during this time of year. That's great. If you had no intentions of buying anything, okay. But for those of you that are like, you know what, I have this spot, I really want to plant there. What can you do for me? Well, here's what you need to do for us. You need to know how long, like the day length and then the light exposure duration do you have? 5 to 6 hours, 4 to 5 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and then what direction is that light coming from? So, if you have a south-facing window, you're going to be getting a higher intensity light for a longer period of time. If you have a north-facing window, you're going to be getting morning light for a very short period of time, and so on and so forth. So knowing the direction will help us point you to a greenhouse based on light intensities, because that's kind of how we have it set up here, based on light intensity and water needs. So greenhouse 1 are the easier low light plants. There is something for everyone in greenhouse 1. Greenhouse 2 is where we keep all of our succulents and cacti, some of the higher light plants, and some of the more finicky ones. We're getting a little finicky in greenhouse 2. Greenhouse 3, we have our high tropicals, high humidity, crazy all over the place plants. So greenhouse 3, if you venture down in there, maybe ask someone to come with you, just because everything in there is so different. So with that being said, knowing your light exposure is super important, because without knowing what you're going to be able to give the plant, you can't purchase one. So coming in ready and knowing that is great. Something else that you guys could do, which isn't necessarily necessary because we do have greenhouse staff here, but if you want to be extremely prepared, ready to go, and know what you want, do a little research. You know, type into Google, I have low light plants, and it'll come up with a whole list. Pinterest, Google, they all have it. Etsy, whatever you want. And that will give you a list, you know, it'll give you some suggestions, and you can come in with those suggestions and be like, hey, I did my research, I looked up some low light plants, and I really like this one. Do you carry snake plants? Do you carry philodendrons? Do you carry dracaena? Okay, so these are all really low light plants, you know, so knowing stuff like that is gonna set you up in a really good spot, and it's going to help us a lot too, because then we can kind of talk to you and we know that we don't have to sit there and kind of back up and take all these questions from you and make sure you're going home with it. Just saves everyone so much time. So another thing that you guys should consider when purchasing a plant is the plant's health. So this goes back to that researching thing. If you are coming in and you're like, you know, I want a low light plant, and I decided I want a ZZ plant. They don't need a lot of water, they don't need a lot of light, but I have no idea what a healthy plant looks like. Okay, that's fine. You want help picking out a plant, we can certainly help you with that. I personally love it. People will put out 2-3 different plants on the floor, and I'll be like, that one, take that one. And it's one of my favorite things to do here. But if you were like, you know what, I'm taking charge of my purchase, I'm gonna buy the best plant, and I'm gonna make that decision, great. So what you're gonna be looking for is growth patterns. Do they have some new growth showing? Are there any flower buds if there are flowers? Do you see any leaf damage, any black spots, any insect damage, anything like that? Make sure you're looking for before you take something home. You want to make sure that it's in the best possible condition, because when you bring it home, it's going to go through a transitional shock. And setting it up to make sure that it's not going to struggle any more than it already is something that you should be very aware of. Excuse me, I've got a little sniffle. So let me just grab a snake plant a ZZ plant, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. All right, for those of you that don't know, this is what a ZZ plant looks like. Okay, so I grabbed this one because this one shows you what old growth is supposed to look like. Nice and dark, very, very glossy, pretty turgid. And then it also shows you what new growth is gonna look like. And you can see this is super, super, super glossy. Very, very, very malleable, pliable. And the leaves are a nice, nice green. You can see in contrast to the old growth how much different the green actually is. So that's something that you want to look for. And then also, this is what a new stem is gonna look like. This is what they come out to be. So seeing all of that in this plant, it screams, yes, you're healthy, you look great, you're growing, you're doing your thing, I'm taking that plant home. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Understanding what they're supposed to look like and what they're not supposed to look like. This can be tricky. And this is what we're here to help you with. Fatigans is pretty good with the quality of plants, and we're really on top of things here, so you shouldn't have to worry about anything like that. But it's always really good to make sure that you are confident with whatever purchase you're making, and ask as many questions as you can possibly ask, because setting yourself up for success is all we want. And we want to make sure that our babies are going home to happy homes and they're going to be taken care of, and we don't want to see you again after you take that plant home. We want to see you to come back and get new ones, but we don't want to see that plant coming back ever again. So basically just a review: knowing your plants, knowing your environment, knowing your personal habits. And I don't know if I covered this or not, but I'm just going to do it really quickly. If you are you have a full-time job, you're really busy, you know, you've got kids, whatever it may be, if you have a busy life, don't get finicky plants. If you have a busy life and you haven't set a specific time aside to take care of your plants, don't get difficult plants. Make it easy on yourself. There's no reason for you to be buying these crazy difficult plants, because all plants are beautiful and no one's gonna judge you if you have a spider plant over calathea. You know, people don't care. And you know what? Spider plants are beautiful. Look at this guy. That's a curly spider in a 10-inch hanging basket. And I've been staring at him for the past 8 minutes. So just so everyone's all clear, we talked about purchasing today. We talked about your environment. We talked about plant health and what to expect out of a plant, what they're supposed to look like, and making sure you're doing your research. So that kind of covers plant purchasing for today. I will be doing the second video, hopefully Monday, and it will be posted maybe Tuesday, Monday evening, This one will be about watering and basic plant maintenance. So now that you've purchased the plant, we're going to talk about how to make sure you keep that plant alive. That's important. Okay? All right. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys are staying healthy and making the most out of whatever your situation may be right now. Okay? Have a great Friday.